If your dismissive avoidant ex reached out at 11:47 p.m. on a random Wednesday, I can tell you exactly what was happening in their brain, and it's probably not what you think. You know that gut-wrenching feeling when someone who disappeared from your life suddenly shows up in your messages like nothing happened? If you've loved a dismissive avoidant, you've lived this nightmare on repeat. But here's what becomes clear when you look at thousands of these cases. The exact moment they choose to reach out reveals everything about their internal world, and more importantly, what they actually want from you. By the end of this video, you'll understand the hidden psychological triggers that make them break their silence, and why recognizing these patterns could save you from months of false hope. Let me paint you a picture of what's really happening inside a dismissive avoidant's head during those months of silence. While you're wondering if you meant anything to them, they're fighting an invisible war between two competing systems in their brain. Dr. Sue Johnson's research on attachment reveals something fascinating. Dismissive avoidants don't actually feel less. They feel everything just as intensely as you do, but their nervous system has learned to suppress those feelings so well that even they don't realize what's happening. Imagine having a smoke alarm that's been disconnected. The fire is still burning, but you can't hear the warning. That's a dismissive avoidance relationship with their own emotions. They've spent years training themselves not to feel the pain of missing someone, but the neural pathways for attachment are still firing underneath all that suppression. So when they disappear on you, they're not coldly moving on with their life. They're in emotional lockdown, running on a survival program that was installed during their earliest relationships, usually with parents who were emotionally unavailable, critical, or inconsistent. Here's where it gets really twisted. The closer you got to them, the more their brain started screaming danger. It's called hypervigilance, and it's like having a security system that's way too sensitive. Every sweet text you sent, every time you wanted to spend more time together, every moment of genuine intimacy, their subconscious was collecting evidence that you were getting too close. And their attachment system has one solution for that threat: eliminate it. But here's the part that will break your heart. They don't want to pull away. Dr. Stan Tatkin's work on couple neuroscience shows us that dismissive avoidants often feel genuine regret about their deactivation strategies. They're watching themselves create distance from someone they care about, but they literally can't stop themselves. It's like being a passenger in your own car while someone else drives you away from everything you want. The person behind the wheel? A traumatized child who learned that love equals pain. Now comes the part that tortures you the most, the complete silence. You're left picking apart every conversation, wondering what you did wrong, checking your phone every 5 minutes for a message that doesn't come. But let me tell you what's actually happening during those weeks or months when you don't hear from them. They're not living their best life. They're in what attachment researchers call emotional suppression. See, humans have something called a set point for connection. It's like a thermostat for relationships. When dismissive avoidants first pull away, they feel relief because they've reduced their emotional temperature back to what feels safe. But slowly, that thermostat starts signaling that something's missing. Dr. Amir Levine's research shows that even the most avoidant people have attachment needs. They've just learned to ignore them. It's like trying to hold your breath underwater. You can do it for a while, but eventually your body will force you to surface for air. During this period, several things are happening in their emotional underground. The intensity of their triggered feelings starts fading. They begin experiencing what I call attachment hunger. Other relationships feel hollow. Nothing quite fits the space you occupied in their life. This is where it gets really interesting. There are specific psychological triggers that consistently seem to make dismissive avoidants finally reach out. The loneliness activation point. There's a specific type of loneliness that breaks through even the strongest avoidant defenses. It's what psychologists call existential loneliness, that deep, bone-crushing awareness that you're fundamentally alone in the world. This usually hits them during transitions or quiet moments. Maybe they're sick and have no one to bring them soup. Maybe they accomplished something big at work and had no one special to share it with. When this type of loneliness hits, you represent something specific to them. You're proof that real connection is possible. The social proof panic. Nothing activates a dismissive avoidant faster than evidence that you're moving on. If they see you looking happy on social media, their attachment system goes into crisis mode. This isn't love, it's attachment insecurity. They need to know they still matter to you. Dr. Helen Fisher's brain imaging studies show that when we feel rejected, the same neural regions activate as when we're in physical pain. For a dismissive avoidant who's built their whole identity around not needing anyone, seeing you thrive without them is psychological agony. The anniversary effect. Dismissive avoidants might suppress their emotions, but they can't suppress their memory. Your birthday, the anniversary of your first date, the day you said I love you, these emotional timestamps are stored in their brain whether they want them there or not. What makes this particularly painful is that these moments often trigger genuine longing, not just ego protection. They remember what it felt like to be loved by you, and for a brief window, that memory feels stronger than their fear. The exact moment a dismissive avoidant chooses to reach out is like a psychological fingerprint. It reveals their true emotional state with startling accuracy. The 2 a.m. vulnerability window. Late-night messages are the most emotionally honest communications you'll get from a dismissive avoidant. During these hours, their logical defenses are down, and raw loneliness breaks through their carefully constructed walls. These messages often come after they've been scrolling social media, watching Netflix alone, or lying in bed unable to sleep because their mind won't stop thinking about you. The Monday morning reality check. Messages sent early in the week usually follow a weekend of forced solitude. Weekend loneliness hits different because it confronts them with what their independence actually costs them. While everyone else is making Sunday morning breakfast with someone they love, they're eating cereal alone. The random Tuesday phenomenon. Interestingly, the most genuine reach-outs often happen during completely ordinary moments. Random Tuesday at 2 p.m., no special occasion, no obvious trigger. These are often the times when their suppressed feelings manage to slip past their defenses during a quiet moment. The way they phrase their initial contact reveals everything about their emotional state and what they're hoping to get from you. Hey stranger, or long time no talk. This is emotional self-protection. They're acknowledging the time gap while keeping things light enough to maintain plausible deniability. How have you been? The classic dismissive avoidant opener. It's generic enough to not reveal that they've been thinking about you specifically, but opens the door for you to share what's going on in your life. I've been thinking about you. This is more vulnerable territory for them. It admits that you've been occupying mental space in their head, which goes against their whole, I don't need anyone identity. I miss you. Red alert level vulnerability. For a dismissive avoidant to admit missing someone is like admitting they need air to breathe. This usually means they're in emotional crisis or have been doing some serious self-reflection work. So, what does their return really mean for you? Here's the part where I need to be brutally honest with you. Understanding why dismissive avoidants reach out doesn't mean you should welcome them back with open arms. Their timing is about their emotional needs, not about what's healthy for you. They're not reaching out because they've suddenly become capable of the secure, consistent love you deserve. They're reaching out because something in their internal world shifted, and they need something from you to feel better. If you've been hoping and waiting for that message, receiving it might feel like validation, finally proof that you mattered to them. But remember, they're contacting you because their attachment system got activated, not because they've done the deep work necessary to be in a healthy relationship. Before you respond, ask yourself these hard questions. Have they acknowledged the pain their disappearing act caused you? Are they reaching out because they miss you specifically, or because they miss having someone who made them feel less alone? What are you hoping to get from reconnecting? Are you prepared for them to disappear again? The harsh truth is that most dismissive avoidants reach out during their vulnerable moments, get their emotional tanks filled up, and then retreat back to safety once they feel stable again. It's not personal, it's just how their nervous system operates. When a dismissive avoidant finally breaks their silence and reaches out, the timing reveals everything about what's really driving them. Whether it's 2 a.m. loneliness, seeing you move on with your life, or holiday nostalgia hitting them like a truck, they're usually responding to their own internal emotional weather, not genuine readiness for the deep connection you're craving. Understanding these patterns isn't about getting them back, it's about protecting your own heart while seeing the situation clearly. Their attachment style took years to develop and won't change just because they sent you a late-night text. You deserve someone who chooses you consistently, not just when their emotional walls temporarily crack open. If this helped you understand your situation better, hit that subscribe button and I'll see you next time.